So today is day 14 of our barn house bathroom renovation. We're getting really close. I'm starting to put in trim. I got the trim for the window and the door built yesterday. And today I got to put it in and I'm going to start working on floor trim. And we're going to really try to get this thing wrapped up pretty soon because I've been working on this a really long time. Seems like 2 weeks is a long time for a bathroom, but we have redone just about everything. So anyway, let me get started on this trim. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just start building my trim piece by piece. And you can see that there's the little 2x4 frame around the window and everything's going to get nailed to that, so it's nice and solid. So pieces I cut fit really nice. I'll put in a few nails, but not too many so that it can be taken out if it ever needs to for some reason. Let's put a few in there. Alright, I'll have to fill those later. Let's start building around it. It's fitting snug now that it has all that paint on there. I have to make sure they're nice and even before I nail everything in place so that the outer trim looks right. There we go, that side's good. This side needs a little work. Alright, I think we're good. Go ahead and do the top one first. Now this bottom piece would be a little trickier because the stud under the window is only at the top, so the ones at the bottom are just going to kind of be there just to keep it from possibly kind of rolling out if it would ever happen to do that for some reason. But the strength is going to come from the nails at the top. Alright, that looks good. Compressor's loud. I'll put that top piece on and I'll have it trimmed out. And I'll just have to fill in the little holes. Alright, so all the other pieces are on, so all I got to do now is this top piece. It just kind of sits up there. Just make it look even. And same thing, the strength on this one will come at the bottom nails where those little 2x4 pieces of the window are. And then a couple up the top just for a little added security, but those are not going to be the strength points. That trim is not going anywhere. These are beefy nails I got in there. It's nice and strong. So I'll show you the whole thing overall. It looks pretty cool. And check it out. There it is all trimmed out. Looks really nice. Got the little bump out here. A little bit of a ledge. Got that little fat detail down there. The 1x4s on the sides. And a 1x4 up top that kind of flares out. Looks really nice. And it just has that cool kind of rustic modern farmhouse, almost Scandinavian modern look to it. That's why I went with it. Plus it was really easy to build. I mean, you know, there's a couple of custom cuts and things like that, and there's no fancy miters or anything like that though, so not too hard. It looks really nice for how inexpensive it really was. So I need to go through and fill in all these little holes, and then once that dries I'll do some touch up. Plus I noticed last night when it was drying outside, like some bugs crawled across it and it left footprints. I don't even see it now. One of them has, oh, here it is. See, it's just got kind of a, you can tell where the bug was crawling around on it. So I had to do a little touch up, but I got to touch up these spots anyway. So what I'll probably do next is that little bit of skinny trim I built to bump this out. I'll install it, and then I need to find my gray paint to color match it to the rest of the frame. But I won't put this trim on yet because, like I said, I want to grout tile before we butt it up against there. And that will also give me room to put up this corner tile here, or a corner trim up here, but I can't do the corner trim until the floor trim's down. So I'll have to do it next, right after I go ahead and add the trim to this door, which should be pretty simple. All right, now I just need to paint it gray to match. I went to my basement to my old paint stash and I found the paint we use for the doors. Picked it up at Menards. It's a semi-gloss. It's some type of contractor paint. We just tried it one time and really liked it because it was kind of thin and it covers really well. So it's like, it goes on real smooth, and it only took like a coat or two to cover. Anyway, if you're curious about the color we use, it's a super dark gray. It's called Gargoyle Shadow. But anyway, I'll just go over. These are primed. Yesterday I didn't paint them, I only primed them. Well, now that I think about it, I probably, no, yeah, they are just primed. And anyway, should cover up really well. So, oh yeah, look at that, one coat. That's why we like this stuff. Probably 2 coats will look good. I taped my floor too, so I don't get it all over my brand new floor. And then the towel, just for a little extra protection. And while it's down here, I noticed I'll probably have to just go ahead and paint our door frame too. It's kind of grungy from all the renovation dust, but I'll do that later. And then when we paint the doors, I'll probably just take them off the hinges and take them outside and do them there. It'd be a little easier than try and do it in here. But once it gets painted, I can put the trim here, and then I also have to paint the door frame on the other door because you can still see a little bit of the wood. So I'll do that after this. Once it dries, and I'll put up the frame, or the trim. Alright, so my gray paint is dry in here too, so I'm adding trim on this door, getting it done. And then I will start moving to the floor trim because I gotta do some measuring and basically cut it from scratch. I just put a second coat of paint on the little trim added there, and now I'm working on the floor trim. So I'm just measuring from wall to wall, and I'll go chop a piece. And then I've also marked on my floor where all my studs are. And because I put the paneling on here, I had to kind of look for where we put a little bit of filler over nail heads. So it was a little harder than just using a stud finder. But anyway, I got it all marked so that way when I put my trim up, when I shoot a couple nails here, I know it's going to go nice and strong. So I'll put that one in, and then this one's going to go in after that. And you know, it'll just kind of fit in between here and then bump up against that one. And it looks like I might have to slightly notch the top a little bit so that this thing will fit okay, and I can, you know, use the wrench on it if I ever need to. So I'll get these cut and then I'll move on from there. I went to go grab a piece of trim to put up there, and I realized I only had primer on these. I didn't have paint, so now I got to sit here and paint, let them dry before I put them up. But I'll get it done. So putting the trim in, this little piece I had to notch it out to fit around this, but it worked out pretty nice. Once all my floor trim's installed, I have to go through and fill the little nail holes there too. And I'll also run my caulk gun in the corner just to kind of smooth it out a little bit and then do any touch-up I might need to do with some paint. So I have the bottom floor trim in, at least all the parts I can do right now. So the big long piece in the back, the one that goes behind the toilet there, the one here that's kind of behind the door, and that's it. Because to fit this piece, I need to know where my vanity is going to land. So I either need to try installing my vanity, or I need to have this piece of trim in, and I got to work with this over here, so I need to grout the tile. So I'm not sure which one I'm going to do first, so I'll kind of figure that out and get it going so we can just knock this thing out. So I decided to go ahead and fit the vanity. So here is like the cabinet part of it, and took some measurements off of our slope. That is actually, it's the top of the staircase that goes downstairs. So we have to work around it. So I took all my measurements and I marked it with tape. I'll take it outside and I'll have to cut a line. I have to draw the line first, but you can see how much of this back's going to get cut off. I mean, it's just barely going to have anything up front here holding it on. So this thing will definitely have to be anchored into the walls, holding it up for the most part. So I'll take it outside and get it cut, and hopefully it works. It's going to be a little tricky figuring out how to cut the bottom here too. So it sure isn't pretty, but that's how we had to cut it to make it work. So hopefully it fits and we don't have to cut it anymore. So I go test it and let's hope it works out. Awesome, it worked out great. Fits really nice. Somehow my measurement's a little off there. There's a bit of a gap, but that's gonna get trimmed anyway. And then the only other thing I gotta do is, man, I don't know if you can see in there. Yeah, I guess you can't, but anyway, the drain where the sink goes actually goes like right here. So it's really weird. It's going to be towards the front of the cabinet and through the side. So kind of a weird placement, but that's what they had to do, and that's how we have to make it work too. So I'll drill that out and then we'll test fit the rest, make sure it's all okay. Oh, there we go, perfect. We finally got the vanity fitted in real nice. It looks pretty cool. The hole I drilled out was not quite big enough because you have to put a nut right here, so we needed some room to work, so I cut out a bigger square. And then to actually mount it, we just drilled 2 holes up here at top, and it went all the way through the wall, and then we put anchors in the wall, and then we screwed them into place, so now it's nice and tight. All right, as far as the top, right now it's just sitting in position. You actually have to put silicone around the top of the cabinet, and then this sits on top of that and kind of gets glued in place. But when I went to go get my tube of silicone, it was dried out on me. It wasn't coming out at all. It was, I guess, pretty old. So I have to get more tomorrow. So right now it's just sitting there, but I'll probably move it so I can do some more work. So I think what I'm gonna do is start working on ceiling trim. I believe I can put some on that wall, wrap around there, go above the door here, and then the long wall over here I can go. And then when I get to the end there, I have to stop because I don't want to do this wall, because I'll have to custom cut it to kind of notch around the tiles, and I don't want to do any trim around the tiles until we do grout, which will probably happen tomorrow. So I'll probably finish up the ceiling trim when I can. I won't do the batten parts yet, just the ones that go around the edge. I'll try to get as many of them done as I can, and then that might end up being it for tonight because I have to run and get some more stuff to finish up tomorrow. But we are getting super close now, like really, really close, so this is pretty awesome. So here's what I got done today. The window trim is put in. It looks really nice. I filled in all the nail holes with some spackling, letting it dry overnight. The corner trim right there is mounted. I got the ceiling trim on that side mounted, holes filled, and the seams caulked, except I see one right there that I missed. I'll have to do that later. I got that corner trim in. I wrapped the ceiling all the way around here and all the way to there, and then I stopped. And then we also got the vanity mounted, so we got to put the top on tomorrow, which would be pretty simple. We just got silicone the top on, hook up the drain and the water lines, put the doors back on, it'll be ready to go. And then also tomorrow, I think we're going to grout the shower, get that done, so that I can then finish out the trim. I'm going to add some trim there, the door trim. I have to make some short trim in front of the shower pan, wrap around here, and then I got to cover up that little bit of a thing that pokes out. And other than that, we're just about there. We'll have to repaint the doors as well. Probably get that done tomorrow, and then I gotta put that in, but we're really, really close now. I also have to build my mirror. I have a design in mind, and I think it'll be pretty cool. I just gotta find the time to build it and just really hope that that mirror I have doesn't break when I try to cut it down. But I think it'll turn out pretty awesome. So I feel like I got a lot of work done today, and we're really close to finishing up. So that about wraps it up for today. I got a lot of stuff done. I'm gonna get even more done tomorrow, so stay tuned. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. I really appreciate that. If you liked it, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. That really helps get it out in front of other people that might like to check it out too. And if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do that to keep up with more videos. And if you want to see some other projects I have some here on the screen and down in the description below as well.